The storm came without warning that night. Rain hammered against the metal roof of the veterinary clinic like 1,000 angry fists. Dr. Tae-hyun Kim sat at his desk, updating medical records on his old computer. The lights flickered once, then twice, but held steady. He was tired. It had been a long day treating sick livestock from the nearby farms. New Haven Colony was not an easy place to live. The planet was beautiful but harsh, and the animals here got sick often. Tae-hyun had left Earth 5 years ago to work on this frontier world. Most people thought he was crazy. Why would a successful veterinarian leave Earth to work in the middle of nowhere? But Tae-hyun liked it here. The work was hard but meaningful. Every animal he saved meant a family could eat, could survive another season. That mattered to him more than the comfortable life he had left behind. A voice called from the back room. "Dr. Kim, I'm heading home now. The last patient is stable." Ji-woo Park, his young assistant, appeared in the doorway. She was only 22 years old, but already a skilled helper. She had grown up on New Haven and knew the colony animals better than anyone. "Go ahead, Ji-woo. Be careful in the storm," Tae-hyun said, looking up from his screen. "You should go home too, doctor. You've been here since dawn." Tae-hyun smiled. "Soon, I just need to finish these records." Ji-woo shook her head but smiled back. "You work too much. Good night, doctor." "Good night." The door closed behind her and Tae-hyun was alone. He returned to his work, listening to the storm rage outside. Thunder rolled across the mountains in the distance. The wind howled through the forest that surrounded the clinic. Then something changed. The thunder grew louder, but it was different. It was not the natural sound of the storm. It was mechanical screaming, getting closer and closer. Tae-hyun jumped to his feet. Through the window, he saw a bright streak of fire cutting through the dark sky. It was falling fast, heading toward the forest behind the clinic. The sound was deafening. Then came the impact. The whole building shook. Equipment rattled on the shelves. The lights went out completely. Then the emergency generator kicked in with a low hum. Red backup lights filled the clinic with an eerie glow. Tae-hyun stood frozen for a moment. His heart pounded in his chest. Something had crashed in the forest. Something big. He grabbed his medical bag and a flashlight. His hands moved automatically, packing supplies without thinking. Bandages, antiseptic, scanner, emergency tools. He pulled on his rain jacket and ran to the door. The storm hit him like a wall. Rain soaked through his clothes in seconds. The wind nearly knocked him off his feet. But Tae-hyun pushed forward, following the direction of the crash. His flashlight beam cut through the darkness, showing broken trees and scattered debris. Smoke rose from a crater in the forest floor. The trees around it were burning despite the rain. In the center of the crater lay something that made Tae-hyun stop and stare. It was huge, maybe 3 meters long. At first, he thought it was some kind of spacecraft wreckage, but then it moved. A massive limb shifted in the mud. Tae-hyun stepped closer, his flashlight shaking in his hand. It was alive. It was a creature, but unlike anything he had ever seen. Its body was covered in thick scales that looked like armor plates. They were dark green and black, with strange glowing markings that pulsed weakly with blue light. The creature had 4 powerful limbs ending in clawed hands. Its head was angular and reptilian, with a crown of horns running from its skull down its spine. Blood pooled beneath it. Dark purple blood that steamed in the cold rain. The creature's eye opened. It was golden and intelligent, focusing on Tae-hyun with sharp awareness. The pupil was vertical like a cat's. For a long moment they stared at each other. Human and unknown alien. Doctor and dying patient, Tae-hyun saw something in that eye. Pain, yes, but also understanding. Intelligence. The creature knew it was dying. It knew Tae-hyun was there. And somehow Tae-hyun felt it was asking him a question without words. Will you help me or leave me to die? Every logical part of Tae-hyun's brain screamed at him to run. This was an alien creature. He knew nothing about it. It could be dangerous. It could be diseased. It could kill him without even trying. But he was a doctor. He had taken an oath long ago when he first became a veterinarian. To help those who suffered. To heal those who hurt. The oath never mentioned what species they had to be. Tae-hyun took a breath and stepped into the crater. "Easy now," he said softly, though he had no idea if the creature could understand him. "I'm going to help you." He opened his medical bag and pulled out his scanner. The device beeped in confusion, unable to identify the creature's biology. Tae-hyun switched it to basic mode. Temperature elevated. Heart rate or something like it. Dangerously fast. Multiple severe wounds across the torso and limbs. The creature's breathing was labored. Each breath made a rattling sound deep in its chest. Taehyun worked quickly, his training taking over. He had treated hundreds of species. Earth animals, colony livestock, even some alien creatures that had been brought to New Haven by traders. Each one was different, but the basics were the same. Stop the bleeding. Stabilize the patient. Keep them alive. He applied pressure to the worst wounds with sterile pads. The purple blood was hot, almost burning his hands through his gloves. The creature flinched but did not pull away. It seemed to understand he was trying to help. You're strong, Taehyun muttered, working frantically. Stay with me. Just stay with me. The creature's scales were incredibly tough. Taehyun had to use his strongest sutures to close the wounds. His hands moved with practiced efficiency, years of experience guiding each motion. Stitch, tie, move to the next wound. Again and again. The storm continued around them, but Taehyun barely noticed. His whole world had narrowed to this moment. This creature, this life hanging by a thread. After what felt like hours but was probably only minutes, he sat back. He had done what he could here. But the creature needed more care. It needed shelter, monitoring, proper treatment. It needed to come to the clinic. Taehyun looked at the massive body. How was he supposed to move something this big? The creature probably weighed more than his vehicle. As if sensing his thoughts, the creature stirred. Slowly, painfully, it began to move. Taehyun jumped up to help, supporting as much weight as he could. The creature was incredibly heavy, but it managed to rise to its feet. It swayed dangerously, and Taehyun braced himself against its side. Together, they made their way out of the crater. The creature's clawed hand gripped Taehyun's shoulder for support. Those claws could have torn him apart easily, but they held him with surprising gentleness. Step by difficult step, they crossed the forest. The clinic lights glowed ahead like a beacon in the storm. Taehyun pushed open the door and they stumbled inside. The creature collapsed on the examination room floor with a heavy thud that shook the building. Taehyun immediately went to work. He set up IV lines, adapting his equipment as best he could. He cleaned and dressed every wound properly. He monitored the creature's vital signs continuously. The scanner still could not identify the species, but it gave him enough information to work with. Hours passed. Taehyun did not sleep. He could not sleep. Every time he thought about resting, he checked the creature again. Adjusted the IV, changed a bandage. Made sure it was still breathing. Dawn came slowly. The storm finally broke and pale sunlight filtered through the windows. Taehyun sat in a chair beside the examination table, his head in his hands. His body ached. His clothes were stiff with dried blood, both red and purple. But the creature was stable. Its breathing had steadied. The glowing markings on its scales pulsed with a stronger light. It was going to survive. Taehyun felt a wave of relief wash over him. He had done it. Against all odds, with no knowledge of the creature's biology, he had saved its life. The creature's golden eye opened and found him immediately. For a long moment they looked at each other again. This time Taehyun thought he saw something different in that gaze. Recognition, gratitude, maybe even respect. "You're welcome," Taehyun whispered. The eye closed again, and the creature slept. Taehyun finally allowed himself to rest. He leaned back in his chair and closed his own eyes. He had no idea what he had just gotten himself into. He did not know what this creature was or where it came from. He did not know if he had been foolish or brave to help it. But as he drifted toward sleep, he felt certain of one thing. He had made the right choice. Whatever happened next, he had done what his heart told him was right. He had saved a life, and sometimes that was all that mattered. 6 months had passed since that stormy night. Taehyun still thought about it every day. The creature had stayed with him for 3 days. Each day it grew stronger. On the 4th morning, Taehyun arrived at the clinic to find the examination room empty. The creature was gone. The reinforced table where it had rested bore deep claw marks that almost looked like symbols or writing. And on his desk the creature had left behind a single scale. It was the size of his palm, crystalline and beautiful, glowing faintly with blue light even in the daylight. Taehyun kept the scale in a locked drawer. He told no one about what had happened, not even Jiwoo. She had seen the damaged examination room and the purple bloodstains he could not completely clean. She had asked questions, but Taehyun had simply said he treated an injured wild animal that escaped. Jiwoo did not believe him, but she stopped asking. Life on New Haven Colony returned to normal. Taehyun treated sick animals. Jiwoo assisted him. The days passed quietly. Until today. Taehyun was closing the clinic when Jiwoo burst through the door, her eyes wide with excitement. Dr. Kim, turn on the news right now. Taehyun looked up from his desk. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong. Everything's amazing. Just turn it on. Taehyun activated the screen on the wall. The news channel appeared, showing a female reporter standing in New Haven's main square. Behind her, the sky was filled with ships. Not human ships. These were massive, strange, and beautiful vessels that looked like nothing Earth had ever built. Repeating our breaking news, the reporter said, barely containing her excitement. The Galactic Assembly has made official first contact with humanity. Multiple alien species have arrived at colonies across human space, including right here on New Haven. This is the moment humanity has dreamed about for centuries. We are not alone in the universe. Taehyun sat down slowly. His hands gripped the edge of his desk. Can you believe it? Jiwoo was practically bouncing. Actual aliens. Real aliens. The government is calling for all colonists to gather in the main square tomorrow for an official assembly. We get to meet them. Taehyun nodded, unable to speak. His mind raced. The creature, the one he had saved. Had it been an alien? Of course it had been. But from where? And why had it crashed here? Dr. Kim? Are you okay? You look pale. I'm fine, Taehyun managed. Just surprised. We all are. That night, Taehyun could not sleep. He lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, thinking about the golden eyes of the creature. Had it known this was coming? Had it been here preparing for this moment? Morning came too slowly and too fast at the same time. Taehyun dressed carefully and met Jiwoo outside the clinic. Together they walked to the main square. It seemed like every colonist on New Haven was there. Thousands of people crowded the area, all looking up at the platform that had been constructed overnight. Governor Martinez stood at the podium, looking nervous and excited. Citizens of New Haven, his voice boomed through speakers. Today we witness history. Today humanity joins a larger community. Please welcome the representatives of the Galactic Assembly. The crowd went silent. Everyone held their breath. 3 figures walked onto the platform. The first was tall and slender with blue skin and 4 arms. The second was short and covered in fur with large eyes like an owl. But it was the third figure that made Taehyun's heart stop. It was a reptilian creature, easily 2.5 meters tall. Scales covered its body in patterns of dark green and black. Glowing blue markings ran along its arms and neck. It walked with a warrior's grace, powerful and confident. It was not the same creature he had treated, but it was definitely the same species. These are the ambassadors, Governor Martinez continued. Ambassador Haewon of the Tellurian Council, Ambassador Bum of the Kesh Collective, and Ambassador Isel of the Vraxi Empire. The Vraxi. So that was what they were called. Ambassador Isel stepped forward. When she spoke, her voice was deep and resonant, translated through a device on her collar. Humans of New Haven, the Galactic Assembly has watched your species for some time. You have shown potential. Today we begin the process of evaluating humanity for membership in our coalition. This is a great honor and a great responsibility. The speech continued, but Taehyun barely heard it. His eyes were fixed on the Vraxi ambassador. Behind her stood 2 guards, also Vraxi, both massive and intimidating in their armor. One of the guards was looking directly at him. The guard's eyes were golden, familiar. The assembly lasted 2 hours. The ambassadors spoke about the Galactic Assembly, about trade, about cultural exchange, about humanity's future among the stars. The crowd listened with wonder and hope. When it finally ended, people began to disperse, talking excitedly about everything they had heard. This changes everything, Jiwoo said, her voice full of awe. Nothing will ever be the same. No, Taehyun agreed quietly. It won't. Come on, let's go celebrate with the others. Everyone's heading to the community center. You go ahead. I need to check on a patient at the clinic. Jiwoo gave him a strange look. Dr. Kim, are you sure you're okay? You've been acting weird since yesterday. I'm fine, really, go enjoy yourself. Jiwoo hesitated, then shrugged. Okay, see you tomorrow. Taehyun walked back toward the clinic alone. The streets were mostly empty now, everyone having gone to celebrate. The sun was setting, painting the sky orange and purple. He was so lost in thought that he did not notice the figure following him until a voice spoke from the shadows. Dr. Taehyun Kim. Taehyun spun around. One of the Vraxi guards stood there, the one with the golden eyes. Up close, the alien was even more impressive and frightening. His armor was scarred from countless battles. His claws looked sharp enough to cut through steel. "Who are you?" Taehyun asked, his voice steadier than he felt. The Vraxi stepped closer. "My name is Kyungsoo. I serve Crown Princess Yuna of the Vraxi Empire." His human language was rough, heavily accented, but understandable. "You saved her life 6 months ago." Taehyun felt his world tilt. "Crown Princess? That creature was royalty? Not creature. Princess, heir to the Vraxi throne. She crashed here while escaping assassination attempt. Enemies chased her across the stars. She expected to die on this world." Kyungsoo's golden eyes studied him intensely. "But you helped her. You saved her, why?" "I'm a doctor," Taehyun said simply. "She was hurt. What else would I do?" Kyungsoo made a sound that might have been a laugh. "Most would run. Most would fear. You are small, weak human. She is Vraxi warrior princess. You had every reason to leave her to die. I don't leave patients to die. Any patients?" "This is what she said you would say." Kyungsoo reached into his armor and pulled out a small device. "Princess Yuna wishes to speak with you. But this must be secret. Very secret. If wrong people know she contacted you, there will be danger. For you, for her, for your whole colony." Taehyun took the device carefully. It was warm, metallic, covered in symbols he could not read. "Why would it be dangerous?" Kyungsoo's expression darkened. "Because Princess Yuna does something very unusual." "Very controversial. She wants to help humanity join Galactic Assembly. Most Vraxi do not agree. They think humans are weak, unworthy. Some Vraxi would do anything to stop humanity from joining. Anything to stop the princess from supporting you." "I don't understand. Why would she help us?" "Because you helped her. Because she saw your kindness, your skill, your courage. Because she owes you life debt. In Vraxi culture, life debt is sacred. Cannot be broken. Cannot be ignored." Kyungsoo pressed the device into Taehyun's hand. "She will contact you tonight. Please answer. She has much to tell you." "Wait," Taehyun called as Kyungsoo turned to leave. "Is she okay? Did she fully recover?" Kyungsoo looked back, and for the first time something like warmth entered his expression. "Yes, thanks to you, she is healthy and strong. You did good work, doctor. Very good work." Then he was gone, disappearing into the shadows like a ghost. Taehyun stood alone in the empty street, holding the alien device. His hand trembled slightly. 6 months ago, he had made a simple choice to help a dying creature. Now that choice was pulling him into something much bigger and more dangerous than he ever imagined. He walked the rest of the way to the clinic in a daze. Jiwoo was not there. The building was empty and quiet. Taehyun sat at his desk and placed the device in front of him. He stared at it for a long time, then it activated on its own. A beam of light shot upward, forming a holographic image above his desk. The image solidified into a figure. She was Vraxi, slightly smaller than the guards, but no less impressive. Her scales were polished and gleaming. She wore ceremonial armor decorated with intricate designs. A crown of horns rose from her head, larger and more ornate than any he had seen. But it was her eyes that he recognized immediately, golden eyes that had looked at him with pain and trust on that stormy night. "Dr. Kim," she said in perfect human language. "Thank you for answering. We have much to discuss." Taehyun swallowed hard. "Princess Yuna, I assume?" "Yes, though please just call me Yuna. You saved my life. Formality seems unnecessary between us." She smiled, showing rows of sharp teeth, but somehow the expression seemed genuine and warm. "I have wanted to thank you properly for 6 months. I apologize for leaving without saying goodbye. My enemies were still hunting me. I could not risk leading them to you." "I understand," Taehyun said, finding his voice. "I'm just glad you survived. I survived because of you. And now, Dr. Kim, I hope to repay that debt. But first, you need to understand what is really happening here on your world. The truth behind this first contact." Yuna's expression grew serious. "You are all in terrible danger, and most of you don't even know it." Taehyun stared at the holographic image of Princess Yuna. The blue light from the projection filled his small office, casting strange shadows on the walls. His heart pounded in his chest. "What danger?" he asked. "What are you talking about?" Yuna's golden eyes were serious. "The first contact you witnessed today was not what it seemed. Yes, the Galactic Assembly wants to evaluate humanity, but many powerful members do not want you to succeed. They want humanity to fail this evaluation. Some want you to fail badly enough that they are willing to destroy you. Taehyun felt cold. Why, what did we do? You did nothing wrong. That is the problem. Yuna shifted and her armor caught the light. Humanity is young, Dr. Kim, so young. You achieved space travel only 200 years ago. Most species take thousands of years to reach that point. You learn fast. You adapt fast. You grow fast. This terrifies the old powers of the galaxy. They fear us because we learn quickly. They fear what you might become. Humans are also unpredictable. Most species follow patterns. We Vraxi are warriors. We value strength and honor above all else. The Tellurians are traders. They value profit and contracts. The Kesh are scholars. They value knowledge and history. But humans? Yuna made a gesture with her clawed hand. Humans are artists and warriors, scientists and priests, traders and explorers. You are everything at once. No one can predict what humanity will do next. This makes you dangerous. Taehyun leaned back in his chair. So they want to reject us from the assembly? Some want rejection. Others want something worse. Yuna's expression darkened. There is a faction within my own people led by my uncle, General Sang-woo. He leads the military council. He believes humans are weak and unworthy. He has convinced many Vraxi that humanity should be eliminated before you become a threat. Eliminated? The word caught in Taehyun's throat. You mean destroyed? Yes, completely. All your colonies, all your worlds. He wants humanity erased from the galaxy. Taehyun stood up, his chair scraping loudly against the floor. That's insane. We've done nothing to them. We just met them today, I know. But my uncle does not care about justice. He cares about power and control. Yuna's voice was filled with frustration. This is why I contacted you. I have been studying humanity for 6 months, since the night you saved me. I have learned your languages, your history, your culture. I have watched how you treat each other, how you treat animals, how you build and create and dream. And what did you learn? That my uncle is wrong. That humanity deserves a chance. Yuna's eyes met his through the hologram. You saved my life, Dr. Kim. You did not know who I was. You did not know if I was dangerous. You did not know if I would reward you or kill you. But you helped me anyway because I was suffering. That kind of compassion is rare in the galaxy. It is precious. It should be protected, not destroyed. Taehyun sat down again slowly. His mind struggled to process everything. What can I do? I'm just a veterinarian on a small colony. I can't stop a general with an army. No, but you can help me stop him. I am heir to the Vraxi throne. My mother is Empress Da-un. She is wise and powerful, but even she cannot act without proof. My uncle is careful. He hides his plans well. Yuna leaned forward. But I am watching him. I am gathering evidence. When the time is right, I will expose him. And when I do, I will need allies. I will need humans who understand what is at stake. You want me to be your ally? I want you to be my friend, Yuna said simply. I owe you a life debt. In Vraxi culture, that bond is sacred. It cannot be broken. When I expose my uncle's plans, there will be war within my own people. I will need someone I can trust absolutely. Someone who has already proven their character. Taehyun rubbed his face with both hands. This was too much, too big. He was not a diplomat or a soldier. He was a doctor who treated sick animals on a frontier world. But he looked at Yuna's face, at those golden eyes that had looked at him with trust on a stormy night. She had been alone and dying, and he had helped her. Now she was returning to help him and all of humanity. Okay, he said finally. I'll help however I can, but I don't know what use I'll be. You will be more useful than you think. Yuna seemed to relax slightly. For now, just continue your life normally. I will contact you regularly through this device. Keep it hidden. Tell no one about our communications. Not your assistant, not your friends, not your governor. No one. What will we talk about? Everything. I want to learn more about humanity. I want to understand your people completely. Every conversation, every story, every piece of information helps me argue for your right to exist. Yuna smiled again. Besides, I find you interesting, Dr. Kim. You are not what I expected humans to be like. What did you expect? My uncle says humans are violent and greedy. That you destroy your own planet and fight constant wars. That you cannot be trusted. Yuna tilted her head. But you are gentle and kind. You dedicate your life to healing. You live simply in a small clinic instead of seeking wealth and power. You are either a strange exception, or my uncle is completely wrong about your species. I think you'll find most humans are closer to me than to what your uncle describes, Taehyun said. We have our problems, yes. We have done terrible things in our history, but most of us just want to live peaceful lives, help each other, and make things a little better. Then I will prove this to my people. I will show them the truth about humanity. Yuna straightened. I must go now. My absence will be noticed soon, but I will contact you again tomorrow night. Same time, is this acceptable? Yes, I'll be here. Thank you, Dr. Kim. You are saving my people from making a terrible mistake. You are saving humanity from destruction. You may not feel like a hero, but you are one. The hologram began to fade. Until tomorrow. Then she was gone. The office returned to darkness except for the small lights from his computer screen. Taehyun sat in silence for a long time. A knock on the door made him jump. He quickly hid the communication device in his desk drawer. Come in, he called. Jiwoo entered, carrying 2 cups of tea. I saw your lights on from the street. I thought you might want company. Everyone else is still celebrating, but it's getting too loud for me. Thank you. Taehyun accepted the tea gratefully. His hands were shaking slightly, and the warm cup helped steady them. Jiwoo sat across from him. Dr. Kim, what's wrong? And please don't say nothing. I've worked with you for 3 years. I know when something is bothering you. Taehyun wanted to tell her everything. Jiwoo was smart and trustworthy. She deserved to know. But Yuna's words echoed in his mind. Tell no one. The danger was real. If the wrong people discovered his connection to Yuna, Jiwoo could be hurt. I'm just overwhelmed, he said, which was not entirely a lie. Today changed everything. The whole galaxy opened up. It's a lot to process. Jiwoo studied his face. That's part of it. But there's something else. Something you're not telling me. She set down her cup. Does it have to do with that night 6 months ago? The night something damaged the examination room? Taehyun's heart skipped. What makes you say that? Because you've been different since then. More distracted. More worried. You keep checking the door like you're expecting someone. Jiwoo leaned forward. Dr. Kim, if you're in trouble, I want to help. Whatever it is. I'm not in trouble, Taehyun said quickly. I promise. There are just some things I can't talk about right now. Not because I don't trust you, but because it's safer if you don't know. Can you trust me on this? Jiwoo was quiet for a moment. Then she nodded slowly. Okay, but if that changes, if you need help, you tell me. Deal? Deal. They drank their tea in comfortable silence. Through the window, Taehyun could see the alien ships in the sky, their lights twinkling like new stars. The galaxy had come to humanity's door, and somehow a simple veterinarian had become a key piece in deciding humanity's fate. After Jiwoo left, Taehyun locked the clinic and walked home through the quiet streets. The celebration had died down. People were returning to their homes, tired but happy, dreaming of a bright future among the stars. Taehyun looked up at those alien ships and thought of Yuna. She was up there somewhere, fighting for humanity against her own people, risking everything because a stranger had shown her kindness on her darkest night. He thought about General Sang-woo and the threat he represented. An entire faction of powerful aliens who wanted humanity destroyed. The idea was terrifying. But Taehyun also felt something else. Determination. He had saved one life on a stormy night 6 months ago. Now he would do whatever it took to save billions more. He did not know if he was brave enough for what was coming. He did not know if he was strong enough. But he knew one thing with absolute certainty. He would not let Yuna face this alone. She had trusted him once and he had not failed her. He would not fail her now. Tomorrow night they would talk again. And together somehow they would find a way to save both their peoples from those who wanted to tear them apart. The future was uncertain and dangerous. But for the first time in months, Taehyun felt hope. 3 months passed. 3 months of secret conversations with Yuna every few nights. 3 months of learning about the galaxy and its dangers. 3 months of growing friendship across the stars. Taehyun learned much during those conversations. He learned about Vraxi culture, their code of honor, their warrior traditions. He learned about the other species in the Galactic Assembly, their strengths and weaknesses, their politics and alliances. He learned that the galaxy was far more complicated and dangerous than humans had ever imagined. But mostly, he learned about Yuna herself. She was not just a princess. She was a scholar who studied alien cultures. She was a warrior trained from childhood in combat. She was someone who questioned the old ways of her people, who believed that strength could include compassion. And Yuna learned about Tae-hyun, about his childhood on Earth, his decision to become a veterinarian, his reasons for leaving everything behind to work on a frontier colony. She asked about human music, human food, human celebrations. She wanted to understand everything. Their conversations became the part of the day Tae-hyun looked forward to most. It felt good to talk to someone who understood the weight of what was happening, someone who saw him not as a simple doctor but as an important ally. Tonight was different. Tae-hyun knew something was wrong the moment Yuna's hologram appeared. Her scales were darker than usual, her movements tense. Her golden eyes burned with urgency. "Dr. Kim, we have a serious problem," she said immediately, skipping their usual greetings. Tae-hyun straightened in his chair. "What happened?"
I have been investigating my uncle's activities for months.
Watching his communications, tracking his movements, following his allies. Today I finally found what I was looking for. Yuna's claws clenched. He is planning an attack. A false flag operation against human colonies. False flag? What does that mean? It means he will attack human settlements but make it look like another species did it. He has chosen the Kresh, a warrior race from the outer systems. The Kresh have no love for humans, but they would never attack without provocation. My uncle will forge evidence making it appear they did. Tae-hyun felt his blood run cold. Why would he do this? To give the Galactic Assembly a reason to quarantine humanity. To declare you too dangerous to contact. Once you are isolated, he will convince the military council to launch a full elimination campaign. Yuna's voice shook with anger. He will claim he is protecting the galaxy from a brewing war between humans and Kresh, but it is all lies. When? Tae-hyun's mouth was dry. When will this attack happen? 2 weeks. Maybe less. He has encrypted files with all the details, target locations, timing, false evidence to be planted, but I cannot decrypt them. They are protected by military-grade security systems. If I try to break them using Vraxi technology, my uncle will be alerted. He will know someone is investigating him. What can I do? I don't know anything about military encryption. You do not need to, but I need someone outside the Vraxi systems to help. Someone with different technology that my uncle's security cannot detect. Yuna leaned forward. Before you became a veterinarian, you worked with computer systems on Earth, is this correct? Tae-hyun blinked in surprise. Yes, I helped design medical database systems. But that was over 10 years ago. I'm not a hacker or anything like that. You do not need to be. I can transmit the encrypted files to you. Human computer systems are so different from ours that their security cannot detect the decryption attempt. You just need to apply human techniques to break the code. Yuna, even if I could do that, it would take time. Time we might not have. I know. This is why I am asking. I would not put this burden on you if there was any other way. Yuna's eyes met his. But I trust you, Dr. Kim. I trust your skill and your judgment. You saved my life with those skills. Now I need you to save millions of others. Tae-hyun took a deep breath. Everything in him wanted to say no. This was beyond dangerous. This was treason against a galactic military power. If General Sang-woo discovered what they were doing, it would mean death for both of them. But he thought about New Haven, about Ji-woo and Governor Martinez and all the families living here, about the children playing in the streets, the farmers working their fields, the teachers and doctors and artists building a new life on this frontier world, all of them innocent, all of them in danger. Send me the files, he said. Yuna's expression showed relief and gratitude. Thank you. I will transmit them through a secure channel. Once you have them, begin working immediately. Contact me when you make progress. Any progress? Wait, Tae-hyun said. If I need help, can I bring someone else in? Someone I trust completely? Yuna hesitated. Who? My assistant, Ji-woo. She's smart with computers, maybe smarter than me. And she already knows something strange is happening. She's been asking questions for weeks. Are you certain you trust her? With my life? Then yes. But no one else. Every person who knows increases the danger. Yuna's hologram began to flicker. I must go. The files are transmitting now. Good luck, Dr. Kim. The fate of your species may depend on what you find in those files. The hologram vanished. A moment later, Tae-hyun's computer beeped. A new file appeared on his screen, massive and completely encrypted. The data was unlike anything he had seen before. written in alien code that made his head hurt just looking at it. He stared at the screen for a long moment. Then he stood and walked to the door. It was late, nearly midnight, but he knew where Jiwoo would be. She lived in a small apartment 3 blocks from the clinic. The walk through the dark streets gave him time to think about what he would say. How do you tell someone that their entire world is about to be destroyed? How do you ask them to commit treason against alien powers they cannot hope to fight? He knocked on Jiwoo's door. Lights came on inside. A moment later, the door opened. Jiwoo stood there in sleeping clothes, her hair messy, looking confused and worried. "Dr. Kim, what's wrong? What time is it?" "It's midnight. I'm sorry, but I need your help with something. Something important and dangerous." Jiwoo studied his face. Then she stepped aside. "Come in." They sat at her small kitchen table. Taehyun told her everything. About finding Yuna that stormy night. About discovering she was Vraxi royalty. About the months of secret conversations. About General Sang-woo's plan to destroy humanity. About the encrypted files that held the proof. Jiwoo listened without interrupting. Her face went pale, then determined. When Taehyun finished, she was quiet for a long time. "This is insane," she said finally. "I know. We could die. Both of us. I know. If we fail, everyone on New Haven dies. Everyone on all the human colonies dies. I know." Jiwoo stood and walked to her bedroom. She returned a moment later, carrying her computer. "Then we better not fail. Show me these files." They worked through the night. The encrypted data was incredibly complex. Layers upon layers of security. But Jiwoo was right. She was better at this than Taehyun. Her fingers flew across the keyboard, trying different approaches, different algorithms. "The encryption is military grade," she muttered, "but it's designed to resist Vraxi hacking methods. It's not expecting human techniques. That gives us an edge." Dawn came. They were still working. Taehyun made coffee, strong and black. Jiwoo barely noticed when he set the cup beside her. Her eyes were locked on the screen, watching code scroll past. "There," she said suddenly. "See that pattern? That's a weakness. If I can exploit it." Her fingers moved faster. The code on the screen began to change, to unravel. Suddenly text appeared, alien symbols that Taehyun's computer automatically translated. They both leaned forward, reading. What they saw made them go cold. The files contained everything. Target locations for 3 major human colonies, including New Haven. Detailed attack plans. Schedules for Vraxi ships disguised as creche vessels. False evidence to be planted. And most damning of all, direct communications between General Sang-woo and his co-conspirators, discussing how to frame the creche and manipulate the Galactic Assembly. "This is it," Jiwoo whispered. "This is proof of everything. We need to tell someone." "The governor." "The Assembly, someone." "No," Jiwoo shook her head. "Think about it. Who would believe us? We're 2 random colonists claiming that a powerful alien general is planning to destroy humanity, without proof that the Vraxi military command itself is involved. They'll just deny everything. They'll say we misunderstood or that we're lying. Then what do? We give this to Princess Yuna. She can present it to her mother, the Empress. She has the authority to act on this." Taehyun contacted Yuna immediately. Her hologram appeared within seconds, as if she had been waiting. "Did you decrypt them?" "Yes, all of them." "Jiwoo did it." Taehyun gestured to his assistant. Yuna looked at Jiwoo with respect. "You have my gratitude, Jiwoo Park. You have done something remarkable." "I just don't want to die," Jiwoo said bluntly. "None of us do. Send me the decrypted files. I will review them and plan our next move." The data transmitted. They watched Yuna's face as she read through the files. Her expression grew darker and more furious with each passing moment. "This is worse than I thought," she said finally. "My uncle has been planning this for over a year. He has allies throughout the military council. If I simply present this to my mother, his allies might bury it or claim the evidence is forged." "Then what do we do?" Taehyun asked. Yuna was quiet for a long moment. When she spoke, her voice was steel. "I need you to come to my homeworld. To testify before the Vraxi royal court. To tell them in person about the night you saved me. About the assassination attempt that led me to your world. Your testimony will give context to this evidence. It will make it impossible to dismiss. You want me to go to the Vraxi homeworld?" Taehyun felt dizzy. "To stand before your entire royal court?" "Yes, and I am sorry to ask this. I know it is dangerous. My people do not like humans. Some will want to hurt you just for being there, but it is the only way. Yuna's eyes burned with determination. Will you do this? Will you risk everything one more time? Taehyun looked at Jiwoo. She looked back at him. Then she nodded once. We'll both go, Taehyun said. When do we leave? The ship that came for them arrived at night. Taehyun and Jiwoo stood outside the clinic, each carrying a small bag. They had told no one where they were going. Governor Martinez thought they were visiting another colony for medical supplies. If things went wrong, no one on New Haven would know what happened to them. Kyung-soo emerged from the darkness. His massive form seemed even more intimidating in the shadows. Are you ready? As ready as we'll ever be, Taehyun said. His voice was steadier than he felt. Good. Follow me. Stay close and stay quiet. They followed the Vraxi guard through the forest to a clearing. There, hovering silently above the ground, was a Vraxi stealth ship. It was sleek and angular, covered in dark metal that seemed to absorb light. No wonder the human sensors had not detected it. Inside, the ship was cramped by Vraxi standards, but spacious for humans. Everything was built for creatures much larger than them. The seats were too big, the controls too high, the corridors too wide. Sit here. Kyung-soo gestured to a section with restraints. The jump to hyperspace can be rough for first-timers. Taehyun and Jiwoo strapped themselves in. The ship lifted smoothly, then accelerated. Through the viewport, they watched New Haven fall away below them. The colony lights grew smaller and smaller until they were just a tiny glow on the dark planet's surface. Then the stars began to stretch. Reality seemed to bend. Taehyun's stomach lurched as the ship entered hyperspace. Colors that should not exist flashed past the viewport. Jiwoo gripped her seat, her face pale. It gets easier, Kyung-soo said. The first time is always difficult for humans. Your bodies are not designed for this. How long will it take? Jiwoo managed to ask. 4 days. Use that time to prepare. I will teach you what you need to know. Those 4 days were intense. Kyung-soo spent every waking hour teaching them about Vraxi culture. The lessons were harsh and direct. You must understand, Kyung-soo said on the first day. My people respect only strength. Weakness is the worst trait anyone can show. When you stand before the royal court, you cannot appear weak or afraid. But we are afraid, Jiwoo said honestly. Then you hide it. You stand straight. You speak clearly. You look them in the eyes, even when every instinct tells you to look away. Kyung-soo demonstrated the proper stance, like this. Feet shoulder-width apart, hands at your sides, not crossed or hidden. Head up, spine straight. This shows confidence. They practiced the stance over and over. Taehyun's back ached from holding the position for so long, but Kyung-soo was relentless. Again. You are slouching. A Vraxi warrior never slouches. We're not Vraxi warriors, Jiwoo muttered. No, but you must act like you have the heart of one. Otherwise, they will dismiss you before you speak a single word. On the second day, Kyung-soo taught them about Vraxi royal protocol, how to address the Empress, how to respond to challenges, how to show respect without showing submission. This is the most important thing, Kyung-soo said seriously. If a Vraxi challenges your words, never apologize and never back down. Admitting you are wrong is seen as cowardice. Instead, stand firm. Defend your position. Even if you lose the argument, you will earn respect for fighting. What if someone challenges us to physical combat? Taehyun asked. Kyung-soo was silent for a moment. Then you fight. And you will lose. But how you lose matters. If you fight with courage until you can no longer stand, you may survive with honor. If you surrender immediately or beg for mercy, you will be killed. The words hung in the air like a death sentence. Jiwoo looked at Taehyun with wide eyes. On the third day, Kyung-soo taught them basic Vraxi phrases. The language was harsh and guttural, difficult for human throats to pronounce, but they learned the essential words. Greetings, acknowledgements, terms of respect. Why are you helping us? Taehyun asked during a break. You're risking your life too. If General Sang-woo discovers you're helping Princess Yuna, what happens to you? Kyung-soo looked at him with those golden eyes. Princess Yuna is my oath sister. We grew up together, trained together. I have sworn to protect her with my life. If she believes humanity deserves a chance, then I believe it too. I trust her judgment above all others. Even above your general? Especially above him. General Sang-woo cares only for power. Princess Yuna cares for what is right. There is a difference. On the fourth day, reality snapped back into normal space. Through the viewport, Taehyun saw a massive planet. It was dark red and orange, covered in volcanic mountain ranges and seas of molten lava. The sky was thick with ash clouds pierced by towers of black stone that reached into space. Vrakor, Kyung-soo announced,
My homeworld.
the heart of the Vraxi Empire. As they descended through the atmosphere, Taehyun saw cities unlike anything he had imagined. The architecture was brutal and magnificent. Buildings carved from obsidian glass rose like mountains. Bridges of metal spanned rivers of lava. Flying fortresses patrolled the skies, bristling with weapons. Your people built all this? Ji-woo whispered in awe. Over 10,000 years. We are an old race and we are proud. The ship landed in a fortress at the center of the largest city. The moment the door opened, heat washed over them. The air was thick and hot, smelling of sulfur and smoke. Taehyun immediately began sweating through his clothes. You will adapt, Kyung-soo said, or you will suffer. Come, we have little time. The royal court convenes in 2 hours. They followed him through corridors of black stone. Everywhere they looked, Vraxi warriors watched them with hostile golden eyes. Some made threatening gestures. Others simply stared with cold contempt. Taehyun forced himself to keep his head up, his spine straight, remembering Kyung-soo's lessons. Never show weakness. Never look away. They were brought to a waiting chamber and given formal clothes. The garments were simple but well made, designed to show respect without claiming status they did not have. Then they waited. Taehyun's heart pounded. Ji-woo sat beside him, her hands clenched together. Neither spoke. What was there to say? In less than 2 hours, they would stand before the most powerful beings in the Vraxi Empire and accuse a decorated general of treason. Finally, Kyung-soo returned. It is time. They followed him down a long hallway that ended at massive double doors. The doors were carved with battle scenes showing Vraxi warriors conquering alien worlds. It was not a comforting sight. The doors opened. Beyond them lay a vast chamber carved from volcanic rock. The ceiling was so high it disappeared into shadow. On both sides, hundreds of Vraxi nobles and military officers stood on raised platforms, looking down at a central floor. At the far end, on a throne of black glass, sat a figure that could only be Empress Daun. She was enormous, even larger than the guards. Her scales were darker than night, polished to a mirror shine. Her crown of horns was massive and ornate, decorated with precious metals. Her eyes were like molten gold, burning with ancient intelligence and power. She radiated authority that made Taehyun want to kneel just from looking at her. To her right stood a male Vraxi, nearly as large as the Empress. His armor was decorated with military honors, his bearing that of a lifetime warrior. General Sang-woo. His eyes found Taehyun and Ji-woo immediately, and pure hatred flashed in them. On the Empress's left stood Yuna. She wore ceremonial armor, polished and gleaming. When she saw Taehyun, the tiniest hint of relief crossed her face. Dr. Taehyun Kim and Ji-woo Park of Earth. Yuna's voice rang out across the chamber. Thank you for accepting my invitation. Please approach the throne. Taehyun and Ji-woo walked forward. Every eye in the chamber watched them. The silence was crushing. Taehyun could hear his own heartbeat loud in his ears. They stopped at the base of the throne platform. Kyung-soo had taught them what to do. They bowed their heads briefly, a sign of respect, then straightened and looked directly at the Empress. Empress Da-yoon studied them for a long moment. Humans, she said finally. Her voice was deep and powerful, shaking the air. My daughter has brought you before this court to testify regarding a matter of great importance. Do you understand the seriousness of this? We do, Empress, Taehyun said. His voice carried across the chamber, stronger than he expected. Good. Princess Yuna, present your case. Yuna stepped forward. She held a data crystal that glowed with blue light. Honored Mother, Noble Council, I come before you with evidence of treason. My uncle, General Sang-woo, is planning to attack human colonies and frame the creche for these attacks. His goal is to manipulate the Galactic Assembly into authorizing humanity's destruction. Murmurs spread through the chamber. General Sang-woo's face remained stone, but his claws clenched. Yuna activated the crystal. Holographic displays appeared above the throne, showing the decrypted files. Attack plans, communications, false evidence. Everything Taehyun and Ji-woo had discovered. This evidence was obtained through investigation by Dr. Kim and his assistant. It proves beyond doubt that my uncle is planning an act of war based on deception. General Sang-woo stepped forward. These accusations are outrageous. This so-called evidence could easily be forged. Why should we trust the word of humans? A species we barely know? A species that my niece has become strangely attached to? Because the evidence is real, Yuna shot back. and because Dr. Kim has first-hand testimony that explains why this investigation began. Testimony about what? About the assassination attempt on my life 9 months ago. About how I crashed on the human world of New Haven. About how Dr. Kim saved my life when I was dying. Yuna turned to Tae-hyun. Dr. Kim, please tell the court what happened that night. Tae-hyun stepped forward. Every eye focused on him. He felt small and fragile, surrounded by these massive warriors. But he remembered Kyung-soo's words. Stand firm. Show no weakness. He began to speak. He told them about the storm, about the crash, about finding Yuna wounded and dying. He described her injuries in clinical detail, the medical procedures he used, the days of careful treatment. I did not know who she was, Tae-hyun said. I only knew she was suffering, so I helped her. That is what doctors do. General Sang-woo laughed. It was a harsh, mocking sound. A touching story, but it proves nothing. So you helped my niece. That does not make your false evidence legitimate. The evidence is not false, Tae-hyun insisted. Your own military codes are embedded in those files. Your communications with your allies. Everything is there, according to you. According to my foolish niece who has been corrupted by spending time among your weak species. General, Sang-woo's voice dripped with contempt. This court should not accept accusations based on human testimony. Humans are liars. Humans are weak. Humans cannot be trusted. Then let me prove my honesty, Tae-hyun said. The words came out before he fully thought them through. Challenge me, test me. Whatever you need to do to believe what I am saying. A dangerous smile crossed General Sang-woo's face. Very well, human. I invoke trial by combat. The words echoed through the chamber. Trial by combat. Tae-hyun felt his blood turn to ice. Yuna stepped forward immediately. Uncle, this is madness. Dr. Kim is not a warrior. He is a healer. This is not a fair challenge. Fair? General Sang-woo's voice was cold. He claims I am a traitor. He brings accusations that could destroy my honor and my life. If his words are true, let him defend them with strength. If he cannot, then his words are worthless. Empress Daun raised her hand for silence. General Sang-woo has invoked an ancient law. Trial by combat is his right when accused of treason. She looked at Tae-hyun. Her golden eyes showed no mercy, but perhaps a hint of curiosity. Dr. Kim, do you accept this challenge? Tae-hyun's mind raced. If he refused, everything would be over. The evidence would be dismissed. General Sang-woo would proceed with his plan. Humanity would be destroyed. But if he accepted, he would face a trained warrior who had decades of combat experience. It was suicide. He looked at Ji-woo. Her face was pale, terrified. He looked at Yuna. Her expression was anguished, torn between honor and friendship. He looked at Kyung-soo, standing at the edge of the chamber. The guard gave him the smallest nod. Stand firm. Show no weakness, I accept, Tae-hyun said. No. Ji-woo grabbed his arm. Dr. Kim, he'll kill you. You can't do this. I have to. You know I have to. Tae-hyun looked into her eyes. If I die, you take the evidence and find another way. Promise me. Ji-woo's eyes filled with tears, but she nodded. I promise. The trial will take place at dawn tomorrow, Empress Da-yoon announced. Dr. Kim, you will be given quarters to rest and prepare. General Sang-woo, you will do the same. This court is adjourned until the trial concludes. Guards escorted Tae-hyun and Ji-woo to a chamber deep in the fortress. It was simple but clean, with sleeping platforms and basic facilities. The moment the door closed, Ji-woo collapsed onto a platform, her hands covering her face. We came all this way just to watch you die, she said, her voice breaking. This is insane. There has to be another way. There isn't. You heard the Empress. This is ancient law. If I refuse now, we lose everything. The door opened. Kyung-soo entered, followed by Yuna. The princess's scales were dark with distress. Dr. Kim, I am so sorry. I never imagined my uncle would do this. It is cowardly and dishonorable, but legal. Yuna's claws clenched. I could challenge him instead. I could fight in your place. No, Kyung-soo said firmly. If you fight your uncle, it becomes a succession battle. Half the military council would side with him. It would trigger civil war. Then what do we do? Yuna demanded. Stand here and watch my friend be slaughtered? We teach him to fight, Kyung-soo said. We have until dawn. It is not much time, but it is something. I'm a veterinarian, Tae-hyun said quietly. I've never been in a real fight in my life. One night of training won't make me a match for a Vraxi general. No, Kyung-soo agreed. It will not. But I can teach you something more important than fighting. I can teach you how to lose with honor. What does that mean? The trial is not just about winning or losing. It is about showing courage. If you fight bravely, if you refuse to surrender even when beaten, the watching nobles can call for mercy. They can end the combat while you still live. Kyung-soo knelt down to look Tae-hyun in the eyes. Many humans do not understand this. They think Vraxi respect only victory, but we respect courage more. A warrior who loses with honor earns more respect than a coward who wins through trickery. So I just need to not give up? You need to show them the human spirit that Princess Yuna saw in you. The determination that made you save her life despite the danger. That is what will save you now. They spent the night in training. Kyung-soo taught Tae-hyun basic defensive moves with a staff. The simplest weapon for a beginner. How to block, how to dodge, how to fall without breaking bones. It was not elegant. It was not effective against a skilled opponent. But it was something. Remember, Kyung-soo said as false dawn lit the sky, the goal is not to win. The goal is to survive long enough to earn their respect. Keep getting up. No matter how much it hurts. Keep standing. Keep facing him. Ji-woo helped Tae-hyun put on the light armor they had been given. Her hands shook as she fastened the straps. Please don't die, she whispered. I can't do this without you. You're stronger than you think, Tae-hyun told her. If something happens to me, you get that evidence to someone who can use it. Promise me. I already promised. Now you promise me you'll fight as hard as you can. I promise. They walked through corridors of black stone to an arena carved into the heart of the fortress. It was massive, open to the red sky above. Thousands of Vraxi filled the tiered seating come to watch the trial. Their voices created a low roar like distant thunder. Tae-hyun stood at one entrance to the arena floor. Across from him, General Sang-woo emerged from the opposite side. The general wore full battle armor, scarred from countless conflicts. He carried 2 plasma blades that glowed with deadly energy. He looked like death itself, ancient and terrible. Tae-hyun held only his simple staff. He had refused heavier weapons he did not know how to use. At least with a staff, he could remember Kyung-soo's basic lessons. Empress Daeun's voice rang out from the royal platform. This trial will determine truth. The human Dr. Kim has accused General Sang-woo of treason. Combat will prove who speaks with honor. Begin. General Sang-woo moved first. He was fast, terrifyingly fast for something so large. His blade came at Tae-hyun in a blur of light. Tae-hyun raised his staff to block. The impact sent him staggering backward, his arms screaming with pain. The general laughed. Is this the best humanity can offer? Pathetic, he struck again, and again. Each blow drove Tae-hyun back. The staff cracked under the assault. Tae-hyun could barely see the attacks coming, let alone defend against them. Within seconds, he was bleeding from a dozen cuts. Surrender, General Sang-woo growled. Admit your accusations or lies and beg for mercy. Perhaps I will kill you quickly. Tae-hyun wiped blood from his eyes. His vision was blurring. His body screamed at him to run, to surrender, to end this agony. But he thought about New Haven, about the billions of humans who would die if he gave up now. No, he said. The general's blade swept his legs. Tae-hyun crashed to the stone floor. Pain exploded through his body. He tasted blood. Through the ringing in his ears, he heard Ji-woo screaming his name. Get up. Just get up. Tae-hyun forced himself to his hands and knees, then to his feet. He swayed, barely able to stand. His staff was broken. He held the 2 pieces, one in each hand. Still standing? General Sang-woo seemed almost impressed. You are either incredibly brave or incredibly foolish. Maybe both, Tae-hyun managed to say. The beating continued. Tae-hyun lost track of how many times he fell, how many times pain exploded through his body, how many times his vision went dark at the edges. But each time he got back up. Each time he faced his opponent again. The crowd grew quieter. The jeering stopped. Thousands of Vraxi watched in silence as this small human refused to stay down, refused to surrender, kept standing even when standing seemed impossible. General Sang-woo's amusement turned to frustration, then to anger. Why won't you just die, he roared. He raised both blades high for a killing strike. Suddenly, Yuna was there. She leaped from the royal platform into the arena, her own blade intercepting her uncle's weapons with a crash of energy. Enough, he has proven sufficient courage. The trial is complete. You dare interfere? General Sang-woo's voice was venomous. I dare protect one who holds my life debt. I dare defend honor when I see it. Yuna stood over Tae-hyun's fallen form. He has shown more courage than most Vraxi warriors. He has earned mercy. Empress Dayun stood, her voice cut through the tension like a knife. Princess Yuna is correct. Dr. Kim has demonstrated extraordinary bravery. The trial is concluded. Mother, he has not surrendered. By law, I can finish this. By law, yes. But I am Empress, and I declare this trial sufficient. Dayun's eyes blazed. Moreover, brother, I have been investigating you for months. I had my suspicions about your activities. Dr. Kim's testimony and Princess Yuna's evidence confirm what I already knew. You are guilty of treason. The arena exploded in shocked voices. General Sang-woo's face twisted with rage and fear. Guards, the Empress commanded. Arrest General Sang-woo and all his known co-conspirators. They will stand trial for crimes against the Empire and against the Galactic Assembly. Vraxi guards moved swiftly, surrounding the general. His allies throughout the arena were seized. Sang-woo struggled, but even his strength was nothing against so many. You have no proof, he shouted. I have all the proof I need, including your own arrogance in keeping detailed records of your conspiracy. Empress Da-un looked down at Tae-hyun, who still lay on the arena floor, bleeding and barely conscious. This human risked everything to expose your treachery. He stood against impossible odds without yielding. He has proven that humanity possesses qualities we Vraxi claim to value above all others: courage, honor, determination. The Empress addressed the crowd. I hereby declare that humanity has demonstrated worthiness for membership in the Galactic Assembly. The Vraxi Empire will personally sponsor their admission and protect them as we would our own people. Any who threaten humanity threatens us. Tae-hyun heard the words through a fog of pain. He tried to smile but was not sure if his face moved. Ji-woo was beside him suddenly, tears streaming down her face, supporting his head. You did it, she sobbed. You absolute fool, you did it. Had to, Tae-hyun whispered. No choice. There is always a choice. You chose to be a hero. The last thing Tae-hyun saw before darkness took him was Yuna's face above him, her golden eyes bright with tears she could not quite hide. Then everything went black and he knew nothing more. Tae-hyun woke in a room filled with soft light. For a moment he could not remember where he was. Then the pain reminded him. His entire body ached like one giant bruise. But the pain was manageable, controlled by medicine. He tried to sit up. Immediately a hand pressed gently on his shoulder. Do not move yet. Your bones are still healing. It was Yuna's voice. Tae-hyun turned his head carefully. Yuna sat beside his bed, still in her ceremonial armor. She looked exhausted. How long was I unconscious? 3 days. You had broken ribs, internal bleeding, fractured bones. The doctor said any human would have died from those injuries, but you survived. Yuna's expression was a mixture of guilt and admiration. I am sorry. This is my fault. I should never have brought you here. You saved humanity. I'd say it was worth it. You saved humanity. All I did was watch you nearly die. Tae-hyun managed a weak smile. We saved humanity together. The door opened and Ji-woo rushed in. When she saw he was awake, she let out a cry of relief and hugged him carefully, mindful of his injuries. Don't ever do anything like that again, she said fiercely. Promise me. I promise to try. Not good enough, but I'll take it. Over the next 2 weeks, Tae-hyun recovered in the Royal Medical Facility. The Vraxi doctors were skilled, and their technology was advanced. His bones knitted back together. His wounds healed. Soon he was able to walk again, then to leave the medical wing. A formal ceremony was held in the Great Hall of the palace. Thousands attended, including representatives from across the Galactic Assembly. Empress Da-un stood before her throne, magnificent and powerful. Dr. Tae-hyun Kim and Ji-woo Park, she announced. You have done the Vraxi Empire and all of humanity a great service. You exposed a conspiracy that would have led to war and death. You demonstrated courage that even our greatest warriors respect. Therefore, I grant you citizenship in the Vraxi Empire, the first humans ever to receive this honor. I also award you both the Medal of Valor, our highest civilian decoration. The medals were heavy, made of rare metal found only on Vrakor. Tae-hyun held his carefully, amazed by the weight of it. Furthermore, the Empress continued, I personally guarantee humanity's protection as you enter the Galactic Assembly. Any who threaten your species will answer to the full might of the Vraxi Empire. The declaration sent shockwaves through the galaxy. Within days, humanity's admission to the Galactic Assembly was approved unanimously. No one wanted to oppose a decision backed by Vraxi military power. Tae-hyun and Ji-woo returned to New Haven as heroes. Ships from a dozen alien species now visited regularly. Trade routes opened. Technology flowed freely. The colony that had been struggling to survive was now thriving, becoming a hub of diplomatic activity. The clinic expanded. No longer just treating farm animals, Taehyun now saw patients from multiple species. Tellurian traders with strange ailments, Kesh scholars who had been injured in accidents, even a few Vraxi warriors who requested his services specifically, having heard of the human doctor who had impressed their empress. Yuna established the Vraxi embassy on New Haven. She said it was for diplomatic convenience, but Taehyun suspected she simply wanted to stay close to the friend who had changed her life. They had tea together once a week, talking about everything and nothing. She taught him more about the galaxy. He taught her about human culture, human dreams, human hopes. 2 years passed peacefully. The threat of war was over. Humanity flourished in their new galactic community. Taehyun thought sometimes that life had returned to normal, though a much stranger and more interesting normal than before. Then the plague came. It started on a mining colony called New Perth. Workers began falling ill with a fever that would not break. Within days, they were too weak to stand. Within a week, they were dead. The disease spread fast, jumping from colony to colony despite quarantine efforts. Human doctors could not understand it. The virus mutated constantly, changing faster than they could develop treatments. Traditional medicine failed. Advanced technology failed. People died by the thousands, then by the tens of thousands. Taehyun worked desperately analyzing samples, trying every treatment he could think of. Nothing worked. The virus was unlike anything in human medical history. It attacked the immune system in ways that should not be possible. Jiwoo fell ill on a Tuesday morning. She collapsed in the clinic, fever burning through her body. Taehyun carried her to a bed, his hands shaking as he started IV fluids and medicines. But he knew that nothing he had would save her. "I'm scared," Jiwoo whispered, her skin burning hot. "Don't be. I'll find a cure. I promise you I'll find a cure." But he had no idea how. He sat by her bed watching her slip away, feeling more helpless than he ever had in his life. The door burst open. Yuna strode in, followed by a team of Vraxi medical specialists carrying equipment. "Dr. Kim, we need to talk now." Taehyun looked up, exhausted and desperate. "Yuna, not now. Jiwoo is dying. Half the colony is dying. I need to work." "That is exactly what I am here about. I have a potential cure." Taehyun stood so fast his chair fell over. "What? How?" "This virus is not natural. We have seen something similar before, on Vraxi worlds thousands of years ago. Our planet's volcanic nature created diseases that attacked living systems aggressively. Our ancestors nearly went extinct before we evolved defenses." Yuna gestured to her specialists. "Our blood has unique properties. Properties you observed when you treated me 2 years ago. Those same properties can fight this virus. You think Vraxi blood plasma could cure this? I think it is your only chance. But it is risky. Human biology is very different from ours. The treatment could kill as easily as cure. We need to test it, refine it, make it safe." Taehyun looked at Jiwoo's pale face, at her labored breathing. Then he looked at the data on his screens, showing the death tolls rising across human space, hundreds of thousands infected. "No other options? No time to waste. Let's do it. What do you need?" They worked together for 3 days straight, combining human medical knowledge with Vraxi biochemistry. Testing, adjusting, refining. Yuna's specialists provided their expertise. Taehyun applied everything he knew about human physiology. Jiwoo, still conscious but weakening, gave her consent to be the first test subject. "If I die, at least I die trying to help," she said weakly. The first injection almost killed her. Her body reacted violently to the Vraxi plasma. But Taehyun adjusted the formula, reducing the concentration, adding human proteins to bridge the gap between species. The second injection stabilized her. The third began to work. The virus in her blood started dying. Her fever broke. Color returned to her face. "It's working," Taehyun said, hardly daring to believe it. "It's actually working." Within a week, they had refined the treatment into a stable medicine. Production began immediately. Vraxi ships carried the cure to every infected colony. Taehyun and Yuna traveled personally to the worst affected worlds, administering treatment, teaching local doctors the procedure. Millions of lives were saved. The plague that had threatened to destroy humanity was stopped. Relief efforts continued for months, but the crisis was over. Taehyun stood in his clinic one evening, watching the sun set over New Haven. The colony was healing. Jiwoo was back to work, healthy and energetic as ever. Ships came and went, carrying the cure to distant worlds. Patients from a dozen species waited in his expanded facility, all seeking treatment. Yuna appeared beside him, moving silently despite her size. They stood together, watching the sunset paint the sky in orange and purple. "My life debt is fulfilled," Yuna said quietly. "I saved your people as you saved me." "We are even now," Taehyun laughed. "Not quite. You helped develop the cure. That means I owe you a debt now. Then I suppose we will always owe each other. Or we could call it even and just be friends." Yuna's expression softened, her intimidating features becoming warm. "I would like that. Friends across the stars. It has a nice sound to it." They watched the sun disappear below the horizon. In the streets below, human children played with young Vraxi, their laughter mixing together. Tellurian traders haggled with Kesh scholars while Vraxi guards stood watch peacefully. The galaxy that had once seemed so dangerous now felt full of possibility. "Do you ever think about that night?" Yuna asked. "The stormy night when you found me. Every day. That was the night everything changed. People ask me sometimes if you were foolish or brave to help an unknown alien. I tell them you were neither. You were simply good. You saw suffering and chose to help without expecting anything in return. That simple choice changed everything. I never imagined it would lead to all this. The best changes often begin with the smallest kindnesses. You taught me that. You taught my entire people that. Strength is important, yes, but compassion matters more." Taehyun thought about his journey, from a simple veterinarian treating farm animals, to someone who stood before empires and helped save civilizations. It seemed impossible. It seemed like a dream. But it was real. All of it was real. "Thank you," he said to Yuna, "for everything. For trusting me. For fighting for humanity. For being my friend." "No, Dr. Kim, thank you. You saved my life twice now. Once with your medicine and once with your example. You showed me what true strength looks like. I will never forget that." The stars came out above them, countless points of light in the darkness. Each star was a sun. Each sun potentially had worlds. Each world held people living and dreaming and hoping. And somewhere in all that vastness, a human veterinarian and an alien princess had become friends. Had saved each other. Had changed the fate of billions with simple acts of courage and kindness. The galaxy was vast and dangerous and beautiful, but it was also full of hope. Full of possibility. Full of chances to make things better. One small choice at a time. Taehyun smiled. His body still ached sometimes from his injuries in the arena. His days were busier than ever. The responsibilities were enormous, but he would not change a single thing. This was where he belonged. This was what he was meant to do, not just healing bodies, but healing the gaps between worlds, building bridges where there had been walls, proving that different species could understand each other, help each other, become better together. Jiwoo called from inside the clinic. "Dr. Kim, we have 3 new patients, and Ambassador Yuna, your embassy is looking for you." Yuna sighed. "Duty calls as always. Same time next week for tea?" "I would not miss it for anything." They parted ways. Taehyun returned to his clinic, to his patients, to the work he loved. Yuna returned to her embassy, to her diplomatic duties, to building the future of 2 civilizations. And above them both the stars shone down, silent witnesses to the truth that sometimes the smallest acts of kindness can echo across the galaxy, that sometimes saving one life means saving millions, that sometimes all it takes to change everything is one person who chooses to help, when help is needed most. The story of the veterinarian and the princess would be told for generations. A legend of courage and friendship that crossed the boundaries between species. A reminder that the future belonged not to the strongest or the most powerful, but to those brave enough to show compassion even when it seemed foolish. And in a small clinic on a frontier world, that story continued. Every day, one patient at a time, one kindness at a time, building a better galaxy together.